Hey there, welcome to another album review, and today I bring you another EP because I'm trying to take a break from all of the prog, post-rock stuff, albums that YouTube keeps recommending me because I've reviewed like 5 in the past 2 weeks or whatever, right? So today I bring you another album that, just like yesterday, it piqued my interest. Now, if you know me, I tend to go through lists of people and stuff like that and stuff they recommend, and sometimes the thing that piques my interest the most are the names of artists and the names of albums and everything. Most predominantly Asian Glow with the bunch of ones and O's. I absolutely love that EP. It's an EP that I still play. I love the shit out of that EP, and my interest was piqued because it was a very long title that was with a bunch of ones and zeros, which I still haven't been able to figure out if it's binary code or not, honestly, because again, the calculators are not, or the translators are not giving me back anything. But still, because of that, I like to, sometimes people pique my interest because of names, and today is no different. I was going through a list of people, EDM, artists or whatever, and I saw a album, or rather an EP, called Semantic Compositions on Death and Its Meaning. And the thing is, first of all, very philosophical title. So my interest was like, okay, very interesting. Now, you gotta understand, when I then look back, or rather, when I look at the artist's name, and I see that the artist's name is goreshit, my interest was piqued, obviously. You cannot have a philosophical title like that and then be called goreshit. It's just very bizarre, right? And then to make matters worse, I look at the genre and it's a breakcore album. Yeah, the basically drum and bass, but way faster. Yeah, it's a breakcore EP. This EP is actually fairly short. It has 16 minutes, something along those lines. Again, as I've mentioned multiple times already, I sometimes like to get into EPs before I get into full albums or whatever, because they're more easily digestible and they give me a better idea of, do I want to listen more stuff from this artist or not. So 16 minutes, no big time commitment, and I gotta say, pretty fucking good, cause honestly, I understand the title. The title is very philosophical, but essentially the entire EP, it has 3 songs, but the entire EP is basically this blend of breakcore, so breakcore beats and everything, with basically it's not orchestral, it's classic instruments. So it's not that you don't have a lot of classic instruments, but it's more of a piano, a violin, sort of just trying to make more of an atmosphere sound, and essentially it's sort of the beats come in and go out, so you have this dynamic between the more quiet moments and the composition of the more quiet moments with just the violin, for example, and then with the aggressiveness of the breakcore, or of the breakcore bits, right? Which creates a very interesting dynamic, and I think that's exactly what's so appealing about breakcore for a lot of people. It's the dynamic between the aggressiveness of the breakcore beats and the more ambient, perhaps atmospheric, toned down background instruments that you use to just give it a different, I guess, narrative or texture to the entire song, because it definitely feels different when you just have the beats, but then you have something to contrast it with, to also create, or at least compare, the aggressiveness to a more peaceful moment, right? It creates a very cool dynamic, and it gives a lot more depthness to the songs, right? Now, as far as this EP goes, I gotta say, there's a couple of issues that I have with it, and I think the most prominent one is the breakcore parts sometimes are really bad, not from a perspective of the composition being bad, but from a perspective of, you are listening to a song at a certain volume, and this is not even every breakcore part either. This is just some breakcore parts are louder than others. They kept my ears to the point where I was sort of feeling uncomfortable, right? And it's not just certain parts of the breakcore bits, so it's there's something with the mixing there that it's kind of the volume just sort of feels louder in specific moments, which doesn't feel very good, right? Because again, sometimes the breakcore beats are just fine, and they sort of respect the volume of the, even though I would say that in general they don't like the balancing of the audio definitely isn't the best between, you know, the, I guess, violins and the beats, right? But sometimes it's fine. But then, you know, you're listening to the breakcore part, and then the next breakcore part comes in. It's way fucking louder, and then it goes back to like the more quieter breakcore part, and it just like kind of makes you uncomfortable because it's just such a sudden change of audio volumes. And then the worst part is it's breakcore, right? Like, this is not a, oh, you know, yeah, sure, the singing here it's a little bit louder, but what? No, like, this is breakcore beats. It's much more aggressive, so it sounds way worse, and you instantly like notice that it sounds worse in terms of like the volume there. And like that was honestly one of the things that ruined the EP the most for me. Not that it ruined the EP, but like it definitely, you know, took some enjoyment out of it. I would love for, you know, a version that I mean, I listened to this on YouTube, so I don't know if there's other like versions of it or whatever, but definitely the version on YouTube, I would love to have a more clean version, or a version that wasn't I guess as aggressive, or a version that wasn't as problematic, I guess, from that sound perspective. I also tend to be a little bit more sensitive with the volumes of music, and I tend to like notice quite a bit when they're not like the same and whatnot. So, you know, that's perhaps more of a me thing. Although sometimes I was just like, I don't even notice it. So, you know, but yeah, like that was like a huge like point of contention, I guess, that I had with the EP, because the rest is just fine, you know, and it's ironic that today's title is actually longer than yesterday's title, even though I was complaining about yesterday's title, but still. The title of the songs are also really nice, honestly, and I think the album art, honestly, it's kind of underrated, you know, like I really enjoyed it. I think it added a lot of what's the word I want to say? It's not atmosphere, but like it definitely added a lot of like it's not depthness that I want to use, context. It added a lot of context to the EP and the songs, right? I think that if you listen to the EP and then you look at the album art, you kind of like feel that the album art is part of the music and sort of is on the same registry of, you know, the artistic context, I guess, of it all. It definitely feels like you enjoy sort of the same feeling that you do with the music. So that's a very underrated part, I think, of the album, or like the EP. You get the point. The album, EP, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it as well, the more like quiet moments, the non-breakcore moments. I honestly think that's pretty underrated as well. Like, I understand that especially with certain aggressive genres, people tend to appreciate the aggression sides, or like the aggression parts of the songs, but here I honestly enjoy a lot of, I think the compositions are they're not very complex, but they're definitely clever when it comes to, again, like the more quiet part. Again, I don't know if it's necessarily violins or whatever, it might be like a synth or something. I don't, like, I cannot fucking distinguish instruments for the life of me, but like, just the more quiet non-breakcore moments, those are the one, like, I think they have quite the clever composition, and definitely I think they do such a huge lifting for the breakcore parts, because you also establish sort of this more melancholic mood with them, and then the breakcore parts come in, that aggressiveness comes in, which sort of shakes that melancholic mood, but it sort of makes you feel even like sadder type thing, right? It makes you feel tension now with melancholy, you know. I think it's a really good combination, and honestly, it's an EP that I ended up enjoying a lot, with the caveat of, you know, the volume thing that I didn't, you know, it's whatever. It might have been just my headphones, honestly. I don't even know at this point. But yeah, as for my vibe meter, I would say that, like, I'm feeling like a 9 out of 10 right now. Like, so, you know, I don't think I'm gonna like try and again, with scores, I never try to like have an objective score type thing. I just go off whatever I feel, and right now I'm feeling a 9 out of 10, so I'm gonna go a 9 out of 10. I think it's good. Yeah, you know, it's basically really good EP, volume parts apart, you know. So yeah, but that's it for today, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new album review.